Shock the system. Bulletcast for life.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know the name, you know the voice, you know exactly why I'm here. Just in case if you don't, I am a 23-year-old piece of gold, the greatest sports recreational podcaster in the world today, the messiah of the microphone, the Podfather. And why am I here? It's simple. I'm here to lead the evolution in this audio revolution, but you know I never do it alone. You know he's on the line. He's my tag team partner. He's the Jimmy to my... Actually, no, we're going to leave the Usos out of this one until the DUI stuff kind of dwindles down. He's the Dawson of my Dash. He's the Stevie Ray to my Booker T. He's the Tully to my Arn. He's the host of the award-winning Under the Radar. He's the current champion of the BC. He's in his 6th reign. He's the first ever Bulletcast champion. The Canadian Destroyer, BT, Brandon Tan Guma. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I got 18 holes in this morning. Got to do the podcast and then go into the A's game afterwards. A very eventful day today for you, boy.
Wow, that's interesting, man. You know, I was at work last night. Didn't get off till like 5:30 in the morning. You know, just doing what the Podfather does, making the moolah to help finance this illustrious podcast as I sit here in my estate in Hayward, California.
And then eventually, you know, we'll hit it big, and then we're gonna have to quit our jobs, and this is all we do.
Exactly. You know, eventually, you know, somebody's gonna sign us up, and we're gonna be sellouts and actually have money.
Maybe we'll get a deal with Saudi Arabia.
I don't think I don't think I'm that big of a sellout. I don't know if sweet Saudi money's really. Actually, if Shawn Michaels can come out of retirement for it, then I might take some sweet Saudi money. We don't know. All right, but episode 131. We're really coming along, man.
It's a lot of episodes.
It is a lot of episodes. You know, I think I already talked about. I did the math about how many episodes we did in the TV studio, but we already discussed that. But anyway, let's hop into it. Outside of the ring, Marco Stunt on his 23rd birthday. I didn't realize he was the same age as me. He signs with All Elite Wrestling. Nice little birthday present for him, eh?
Good for him. You know, he's a little on the short side. I haven't really seen a whole lot of his work. I don't know exactly what he can do. I mean, putting him with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, it's an odd pairing. But I mean, I got nothing against him. Holding out hope that he does good work in AEW. Yeah,
no, I enjoy the odd pairings. I mean, we've had Goldust and Booker T and Eugene and William Regal or Tajiri Regal or whatever. So it's fine. It's interesting. You know, walking around StarCast, I knew he was small, but I didn't expect him to be that small. I was like, Jesus, he's a small man.
It's not about the size of the dog. It's about the fight of the dog and the size. I don't know how you say it. Whatever.
It's not about the size of the dog and the fight. It's about the size of the fight and the dog, Brandon. There you go, making big dog noises. He's not the only one to sign with All Elite Wrestling. Chris Van Vliet becomes All Elite, signing as a backstage interviewer. You know what? I've noticed a little trend here. I interview somebody like Jeff Cobb, interviewed him, signs with Ring of Honor. Carl Fredericks, I've interviewed him a couple times, and he's gone on to sign with New Japan Pro Wrestling, becoming a young lion. Chris Van Vliet interviewed him earlier this month. Now he's with All Elite Wrestling. Maybe we're the gateway to bigger and better things. We just can't be the gateway for ourselves, Brandon.
You interviewed TJP, and New Japan announced that TJP is one of the first entrants in the Super J Cup.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Or best Super J Cup, best Super Juniors. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
We're doing things out here. You know, if you want to do big things in wrestling, you come over here and we'll interview you, and you know you can get on to bigger and better things while we just stay here.
Exactly. That's the plan. That's what's going on. But I'm incredibly happy for Chris. You know, I've been a fan of his for a number of years, and I'm just incredibly happy for him and Marco Stunt. I know they can both bring something very interesting to All Elite Wrestling. All right, moving on. We got to talk about Jimmy Uso getting arrested. So it's kind of ironic that promo segment that his brother and Cena had. You know, Cena said, "You look just like your mugshot." And then Thursday morning, it's announced that Jimmy Uso was arrested in Pensacola, Florida, for driving under the influence. Back in February, he had a intoxicated encounter with a cop. He wasn't driving, thank God. But I don't know what's going on with the Usos. And his brother had a DUI incident in January of 2018. Yeah, so what's going on with the Sos, man?
I don't know. It's not a good look for either of them. And then they get into the DUI, they get arrested, and then they're back on Raw the next couple days later. WWE says, oh, they're responsible for their own actions, so they don't give them, they don't discipline them in any ways, so it's not really, deterring them from doing this again.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I mean, Rusev and Lana, thanks to TMZ, they announced that they were getting married, and they were in that storyline with Dolph, and then Rusev and Lana, they got buried for quite some time for messing up that storyline. So it's kind of I find it hard to believe that the Usos aren't being penalized or fined or punished for having DUIs, and especially since they're public figures and with the company.
And with him being on Total Divas as well.
Yeah. I mean, hey, brings more eyes to the show, I guess. You never know. All right, so National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, and Ring of Honor have agreed to part ways. They did have a little working relationship here and there because, of course, Marty Scurll challenged his good friend Nick Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold. I think it was a Crockett Cup that they did. And, of course, Villain Enterprises, they do currently hold the NWA tag title. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with those championships and that faction. But what are your thoughts on NWA and Ring of Honor separating ties?
I mean, it's a little disappointed. I did like what NWA and ROH were doing. I don't know the specifics on it, if it's NWA who wanted to part ways or ROH, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if New Japan is quick to follow, because ROH is not in the best of creative stances right now. They're in a little bit of a funk with Matt Taven being their world champion. Not a lot of people like that. So maybe it's NWA trying to do bigger and better things. Maybe they're trying to get, a TV deal, or they're trying to be their own brand. But I think we have to wait and see if ROH loses another partner in a few months or years.
Yeah, they lost their partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling, so it's I don't know. Ring of Honor, they really are in a slump. I mean, Matt Taven, I enjoyed him in the Kingdom with Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett Kanellis. We're going to talk about them when we talk about Monday Night Raw. But yeah, I don't know, man. Taven, when he won the Ring of Honor title, it was kind of like the Jinder Mahal reaction. I guess I can compare it to that. And it was like, wow, really? This guy? Okay. But I do think Jinder was more of a shock. But anyway, I don't know, man. Who do you think could take the title off of Taven and give the title, I guess, a little bit more credibility?
I think Marty Scurll is kind of the obvious pick. He might be the biggest and most popular person in the company, but he's linked with the Elite, and who knows how long Marty's going to be with that company. So, he's kind of the person I would put it on, but yet I wouldn't put it on him if he's going to be gone, by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with Marty Scurll. Speaking of Marty Scurll, he'll be at Stockton Con out here in the Bay Area this coming weekend. Go see him.
Whoa. I saw this on the internet. Some lady said she's from the Bay and she's from Stockton. I'm going to say it right now, Stockton is not the Bay Area.
It is not. I don't know why I said that. If you live in the Bay Area, you're close to Stockton Con. That's what I was trying to say. Go see Marty Scurll, Kurt Angle, Vicky, and Chavo Guerrero. It's going to be a good time, man. I would like to go make it out there, but unfortunately I have to go handle the Arco business on those days. But seriously, go check it out. It sounds like it's going to be a great time, and they have a pretty good lineup. But moving on from that, we're going to talk about the WWE Network update. Now, they got a little revamp. It's been the same model that they've had since the network was launched, and I was scrolling through it, man. It looks crisp. It looks nice. You can find certain things easier. Like, I know I'm a part of a couple wrestling pages on Facebook. Somebody was saying that they could, I don't know why they searched this out, but they found the interview segment that Brian Pillman's wife did after his death. It's like easily attainable on the network, I guess. And you can find other things easier, but Brandon, what are your overall thoughts on the updates and relaunch here of the WWE Network?
I like it a whole lot. I've gone through the mobile app, which I thought is fantastic. It's much better than what it used to be, where it was like, basically two different apps with the WWE app and the network app all in one. So I really enjoy that. I also have it on the Amazon Fire, which is kind of the number one way I use it. And I think it's a very slick pristine new update. It's been the same way for the last 4 or 5 years at this point. Haven't seen what it looks like on the PlayStation, but I'm excited. The only thing is like the collections and the hidden gems and that kind of thing is a little harder to find. They don't exactly have collections anymore. But I read on the Twitter that they're trying to work on that to maybe get those back up and running. The search bar, as you said, much better than what it used to be, where you try to type in something, it just gives you 1,000 other things that is not related to what you're trying to look for. So, I'm excited. It seems as though they're also going to have some sort of tier system within the next year, which is a little bit exciting, but also a little worrisome because maybe they're going to upcharge us for us to get, what we get now for a little extra money.
Yeah, I saw something about the tiers thing. It said it had different prices. I don't know if these are the exact, but it said $6.99, $9.99, $13.99. It had different stuff like that. Don't quote me on those being the exact prices, but I don't know. A tier system, maybe they're taking over the Patreon model. Because I know Hulu, they have a tier system, right? You pay $7, but you get commercials. If you pay a little bit more, you get no commercials, and so you never know.
Hey, it makes sense for $9.99 to kind of be the base system for it to be you get the pay-per-views and maybe some other things. You get NXT or whatever. But if you get $15, then you get no commercials, you get all the pay-per-views, everything else, and you get other indie stuff like ICW or whatever else partners they have.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the big hook of the next tier up is getting a lot of indie shows.
Yeah. I know people, they still do try to pirate WWE pay-per-views. I don't know why. You pay $9.99, it does not roll over. Look at your bank account, it doesn't. And you get over 400,000 hours of wrestling. That's more than what you can ask for $9.99. That's incredible, I don't know why people are tripping over the price. But they are going to go ballistic when the price probably does increase in the next year.
That's just how the capitalist system works.
Yeah, that's just how this business works. All right, so WWE retires pay-per-view name. So I was scrolling through the WWE network, and I was looking at, they have the list of retired pay-per-views, and a couple of them we've seen in the most recently in the last year or two, and I just found that really interesting. So let me go to the WWE pay-per-view portion and retired pay-per-views. Here we go. So, Backlash has officially been retired. So is WWE Battleground. Just moving for Crown Jewel, one we just saw last year, has officially been taken off of the market. Great Balls of Fire. I loved it. Greatest Royal Rumble is gone. I guess they're officially doing away with No Mercy, and yeah, wow, this is Backlash. That's officially out of the window. What are your thoughts on them getting rid of these pay-per-views, Brandon?
Some of them aren't that shocking. The No Mercy, Payback, Backlash, those have a little bit more cachet than Crown Jewel and Greatest Royal Rumble. But I'm not going to get too attached to the pay-per-view names. What is a Stomping Grounds if they just have random names every single year and they're all different? It doesn't make. I'm not terribly against it, but as long as they're going to obviously keep Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and the other 8-9 pay-per-views in between. It doesn't really matter to me.
Is there a pay-per-view name that you wish they would bring back?
I did like the Great American Bash. I know that's a WCW thing, but I think it's just a solid, easy thing to do in July.
Yeah, I'm looking through this Armageddon. I loved that. Bad Blood. That was cool to me. Breaking Point. I could do without that one. Capital Carnage. They only did that once. I like that and Capital Punishment. Cyber Sunday. There's a lot of these that I wish they would bring back. Wow.
It's just, there's so many different names. How long until they kind of run out of them and they just have stupid names like, Great Balls of Fire?
Great Balls of Fire was good. The name, but the pay-per-view was good. You cannot lie about that. I think the number one people want back is King of the Ring because it's something easy to do in that little slump between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. You can have a 32-man bracket, and then just over the course of the couple months, you just have somebody crowned, and then the winner of the King of the Ring gets to challenge for the world title at SummerSlam. I think that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I think WWE doesn't really like doing tournaments because it's kind of hard to advertise the matches ahead of time, and it's a little hard on the wrestlers if they have 2 or 3 matches in one night. But I'm a big fan of like the WCW names. You get like Fall Brawl and Halloween Havoc, kind of seasonal type names, where you're not pigeonholed into one specific area like in Extreme Rules or Hell in a Cell and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't you have a Fall Brawl T-shirt?
Yeah, and it's a War Game shirt. Wore that to the War Games last year. Got a little tipsy, not gonna lie.
See, Brandon's a wrestling historian. He's very cultured with the retro tees. I'm gonna have to step my game up. Probably hit up Wrestling for Sale on Instagram and see if he has anything that might pique my fancy.
He posted a photo of like the OG Big Show shirt. I was digging that one.
Hey man, if he has a Y2AJ shirt, I'm gonna have to cop that.
I mean, I don't exactly know how many were sold in its entirety. Maybe a few hundred.
Yeah, hey man, it's one of those gems that I should have bought when it was available. I really should have. Yeah. All right. Moving on from that, we're just gonna go to Bobby Lashley. He's injured. It's an undisclosed injury. I'm not sure what exactly it is because it's undisclosed. But BL Lashley, hope you make a speedy recovery, man, and hope you do something prominent when you return to WWE television.
Yeah, a little disappointed. I mean, he's kind of been off and on WWE TV because of the injuries. So hopefully, speedy recovery. Obviously, he's not going to do anything for SummerSlam. I mean, I don't really know what you do with him after SummerSlam because he lost to Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's not even doing anything, so you can't really put him in the title picture. I mean, they teased him and Brock a little bit for the whatever that fatal 6-way battle royal thing that they had a few weeks ago. But I mean, I don't know. I'm still hoping Bobby Lashley does some stuff in WWE.
Yes, absolutely. All right, MLW, Major League Wrestling, they partner with Pro Wrestling Noah. Noah's probably most prominent performer was Kenta Hideo Itami, but now he's in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Talent sharing's always good. What are your thoughts on MLW and Noah kind of joining up?
I mean, it seems like a good pairing. I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about MLW. Shout out to Big Oos, Jacob Fatu. He's doing big things over there. Noah, I mean, I haven't really heard a whole lot of stuff from them. I think they had a show, WrestleMania weekend, that I heard was pretty good. So it seems as though they're doing some good things as well. So putting these two companies together should get some good shows and some good wrestling out of it.
Yeah, I know. Baby Huey from In The Click, go follow those guys, Instagram and Twitter. He's very high in MLW. He loves the Von Erich kids, Kevin Von Erich's sons. And, shout out Big Uzi. He's the MLW heavyweight champion right now. We're going to see him this Friday night when we talk about APW later on in the show. But, yeah, I mean, MLW, they have some good stars. MJF from the Dynasty, him and Alex Hammerstone, along with the other guy whose name is escaping me at the moment. They do good work. Austin Aries is, I guess, signed there now. So, MLW, they do have good shows. I really enjoy their stuff. So, Pro Wrestling Noah, I haven't watched a lot of it, but I am looking forward to seeing their stars in the MLW atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a lot from either company, but if they get enough hype and there's like a really big show, maybe I might check it out. Maybe it's on the WWE Network, who knows?
A really big show?
I'm not singing the theme song.
Speaking of Big Show, the Big Show show will be on Netflix. It's a reality show about Big Show and his life. Congratulations to Show scoring this deal, man. I guess this is life after wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of been teasing coming back, teasing retirement. We don't really know what's going on with the Big Show, but I mean, he's had a long, fruitful career. Who would have thought 20 plus years ago that the young gun in WCW would still be relevant today?
I know. Shout out Show, man. He's given us a lot of good moments. It's a lot of comedic. He's turned heel and face more times than NASCAR has tracks or whatever. I don't know how that phrase goes anyway. But look, I appreciate the Big Show. Hall of Famer, absolutely. I'll probably watch it, see what's up with it. But moving on from that, Tennille Dashwood, a.k.a. Emma or Emelina, if you were a fan of that, she signs with Impact Wrestling. Met Tennille at APW. Really nice, sweet woman. I enjoy her ring work. I'm excited to see what she's going to do with Impact. Maybe her and Tessa Blanchard tear it up. Yeah,
good signing for Impact, I think. A lot of people were thinking she could be maybe not a centerpiece, but a really high-end talent for AEW. So Impact getting this is a little bit of a steal. I mean, Impact is doing good work, and they have a sneaky good women's division. You could possibly say better than WWE. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you got Tessa Blanchard, Jordan Grace, Tennille Dashwood. You got Hogan in there. I mean, there's a lot of good talent over there. And, Rosemary, Taya Valkyrie. I mean, I'm gonna have to look, at the rosters, but it could be said that Impact is a better women's roster than WWE does.
It's probably true. I've been a fan of Kiera Hogan for a while. She's the only Hogan in wrestling I like. But no, seriously, I mean, she does good work. I'm interested to see what. Hopefully, they put the Impact Women's Knockouts title on her. Do you know who the champion is over there right now?
I mean, is it Taya Valkyrie still? I haven't really been keeping up with the Impact.
It's either Taya or Jordan Grace. I don't even remember.
I can give it a quick Google search right now.
Yeah, Google search that while we keep discussing Impact Wrestling's women's division. Tennille, I'm just trying to think. I guess she's done with the whole Woman of Honor thing since that didn't really pan out. Yep.
Sorry, I am deep in Impact Wrestling lore right now. If I can.
Oh.
It's so hard. Oh, yeah, I told you. Taya Valkyrie is the current champion. I knew it.
Met Taya Valkyrie at APW. She's really nice, too. Shout out, Taya. Canadian as your boy.
I mean, she's married to an American, John Mundo. She's okay.
She's okay. Wow. Look, I don't know what's your problem with my people. Canadians, we are fascinating individuals.
I don't know about fascinating.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, moving on from
Interesting, maybe.
Baron Corbin has wrestled the most matches in WWE. He's hit 100 matches. Congratulations to my boy BC. He's getting congratulated from the BC because the boy. Shout out Corbin, man.
He is the workhorse of WWE.
I know it was Daniel Bryan at one point. Then it was Dean Ambrose, now known as Jon Moxley. Now it's Baron Corbin. Who would have thought, man?
Shout out to the Revival, a close second place.
Very close second place. You are right. But Baron Corbin should have won the Universal title. Oh my God. That ended days. Lacey Evans should have came in there and pinned Becky. It would have been great. It would have been awesome. But no.
And you still would be champion. But,
I would still be champion. That's another thing. I'd still be champion. Absolutely. But yeah, it's whatever. All right, last up, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin 316 is making his way to the Bay Area. He will be at Silicon Valley Comic-Con. It's coming up in a couple weeks. It's going to be in San Jose. I was looking at the prices. I'm like, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's the baddest SOB on the planet. I've been thinking about it, Brandon. I know you're a big Austin guy. The biggest box office draw in the wrestling industry. Would you go make your way over there and have a little chat with Steve Austin?
I'm going to be honest, I had no idea that this was even happening, so now that it's come to my attention, I might have to do some quick research and plan accordingly.
Yes, plan accordingly. If so, take me with you.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, inside of the ring, All Elite Wrestling has announced TV matches because they announced when they're going live on TNT. It's going to be October 2nd. That's the same week as SmackDown launches on Fox, like we already know. Let me go to the AEW TNT page so I can talk about these matches. We know first up is going to be Sammy Guevara going up against Cody Don't Call Him Rhodes. One of the first matches announced. I'm excited for it. Showtime 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and doors open at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Capital One Arena, and then we have the Elite, which is Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks going up against Chris Jericho and two mystery partners. Who do you think those mystery partners will be?
I don't know. Maybe it's a tag team. Maybe it's just a hodgepodge of singles guys. I mean, those are two pretty big matches. I don't know if that means it's going to be on television or there may be a dark match or two. It's going to be interesting to see how AEW structures their TV because I think they're going to have to be really wrestling-centric. Jon Moxley is going to make an appearance, so he's probably going to cut a promo or something. We're going to see where his next feud is going to be after Kenny. Maybe it's still going to be Kenny, but I think seeing how AEW structures their television with it being 2 hours every single week live, it can be very strenuous doing all that, and hopefully they don't run into the same problem as WWE where they kind of just run everybody dry. I know it's the first show, so you want to make an impact, no pun intended, but I think they need to get a bigger roster depth so they don't have to rely so heavily on the Bucks, Kenny, Cody, all those other guys.
Yeah. I don't know where they're gonna go from there. Hopefully, they don't just throw everybody out there, go balls to the wall. Could it be a private party that accompanies Y2J? Don't know. That would be an interesting spot for those two young guys to be in such a prominent role with the legend that is Chris Jericho. But maybe they're gonna have some new signees that make their way over to TV come October. Maybe it's some guys that may just make a run in at All Out. We're not sure. We don't know. Hell, maybe it'll be the Revival. For all we know, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, we're gonna move into this day in wrestling. Kind of want to speed things up here. So the Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray and Booker T. It's funny that I mention them every time I do an intro for us, but they make their WCW debut in 1993. Harlem Heat, I love them. I met Booker T once. I told him, "Thank you for everything you've done for the African American community in professional wrestling, being one of the African American world champions, but never holding that top prize." And Stevie Ray, I think he kind of really just gets lost in the shuffle. People were saying he didn't really deserve to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, which I highly disagree with. I mean, WWE acquired WCW. Stevie Ray was a damn good tag team performer. I know, 10-time WCW World Tag Team Champion. He held a WCW television title, and I believe he was a part of the NWO with all the other 80 members that originated from the NWO. But any thoughts on that Harlem Heat stat?
No, I mean, we kind of talked about Harlem Heat last year when they got inducted in the Hall of Fame. I think they're a really good tag team, maybe a little underappreciated because they just had their run in WCW. And Booker T kind of went on to bigger and better things in WWE. So, shout out to Harlem Heat.
Shout out to Harlem Heat. My little cousin just walked into the building. You want to say hello to the millions of people? There you go, man. You're famous in Japan now, buddy. There you go. All right, worldwide. You're the new Pitbull. I dig it. No, but yeah, I really enjoyed Harlem Heat, and just moving on from it, we're gonna talk about the 1996 Olympics. This happened on this day in July. I was born in January, so about like 6 months old. And what do you know? Kurt Angle wins his Olympic gold medal that he's talked about so famously in his wrestling career on this day. He didn't pin the guy, he just won by decision, but still, a win's a win. He won an Olympic gold medal. Any thoughts on Kurt Angle winning the Olympic gold medal, and have you ever actually seen the match?
I have not seen any of Kurt Angle's amateur wrestling matches, but Kurt Angle is an American hero, as is every Olympian.
Absolutely. As an amateur wrestler in high school, and he was always one of the idols of mine because I watched WWE and I knew about this. Go watch the match and even watch some of his Foxcatcher stuff. That training camp that was around because John DuPont, he was a sick man. That documentary that Channing Tatum's in, it really paints a interesting picture about that interesting time in Kurt Angle's life. He's not in the documentary, but still, you kind of get the gist of it. Also, there was a Raw on this day in 2000. Not much really happened. There was a Nitro on this day in 2000, and Lance Storm beats Chavo Guerrero for the WCW title. Shout out Lance Storm. I think he made that a Canadian championship. Just another reason why to love Canada. SmackDown 2001. I think The Rock tears down Booker T in a promo, tearing down WCW. There was a SmackDown on this day in 2006. Honestly, can't tell you what happened on it. But unfortunately, on this day in 2015, we lost the legendary Rowdy Roddy Piper. Piper, probably one of the best bad guys that this industry has ever seen. It's crazy. I remember that day, and I was sitting at home and was scrolling through Facebook, and it said Roddy Piper has unfortunately passed away. I was like, what? Like, we had just lost Dusty a month earlier, and then to lose Roddy, I was like, that was a big stab in the heart for me, man. What are your thoughts on the unfortunate death and the life and career of the Rowdy one?
Roddy Piper, one of the greatest heels of all time. When he died, it was a shocker, and then unfortunately, just kind of brought back to light his HBO document or HBO interview where he said he wasn't gonna see past 60 or something, and sure enough, he was correct.
It didn't make say like 68 or something. I don't know.
Something like that. He was gonna die young, and he was right on that one. So
yeah,
it's sad to see.
Kind of like the Ultimate Warrior, kind of foreshadowing your own death, so to speak. That's interesting.
I did my research, and I have found the prices on Stone Cold Steve Austin. It is taking place on August 17th. This is a Saturday. If you want to get an autograph and a picture with Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. It's going to cost you $275.
Hey, but that's Steve Austin, you know.
Yeah, it is Stone Cold. I love him. I don't know if I love him that much. But if you get a photo, you're able to take a photo with him with two people. So if you got you and a significant other, you and a friend, you can just go together and just take a photo and save a little bit of money on there.
Oh,
Shout out to Stone Cold.
A friend? So you and I? Is that what you're talking about?
If I'm getting a picture with Stone Cold, I'm going 1-on-1.
Wow.
I could just crop you out.
What? You're gonna crop me out of the photo? Wow, that's.
But then you can crop me out of the photo.
I see. I wouldn't do that to you though.
You're a better guy than I am, Philip.
Well, I guess so. You know, I might have to tell Steve to drop a stunner on you right then and there. I don't know. But a shout out to Kid Cash. He turns 50 today. Talk about underrated. You know, he is really one of the most underrated guys ever. I mean, he was cool in the X division. He was cool in the cruiserweight division that WWE had before this current incarnation of it back in the mid 2000s. Any thoughts on Kid Cash?
Not really. I mean, he's a good, solid hand. Not legendary, but a really good wrestler. A B-plus player, one might say.
Did you just call him a good, solid hand?
Is that a... Oh, I forgot.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. He's gonna get triggered.
That's derogatory.
Tully Blanchard is gonna come out of the woodworks and bop me in the head with a steel chair.
Yeah, you can't be calling people solid hands. That's not how this business works. All right, we got some fan mail. Hootie Hoo 420.
Hootie Hoo, my boy.
The way Rollins took those F5s is the most entertaining he's been in a very long time. I agree. Alfie Lewis, you know, this guy wrote you and you responded late, Brandon. How dare you?
I'm sorry. I can't do anything right.
Maybe he'll never email the Under the Radar ever again.
I mean, we only had one email ever, and it's yeah.
Didn't Copenhagen throw some stuff? Oh no, that was Twitter, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shout out. At least Copenhagen tried, bro.
And I answered his questions.
There you go. Alfie Lewis, driving in the sun, looking out for number one, California, here we come. Oh, I get it. So, I don't know if you have heard this, but since Styles, Gallows, and Anderson are being called the OC, those are some of the lyrics from the theme song of the OC television show. Brandon, did you ever watch that show?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it was based about some white people in Orange County, California. I know my mother used to watch it, and I caught myself just watching it with her as a child. I'm not gonna lie, the theme song is a banger. So what I'm waiting for is somebody to do a video package or highlight reel of Gallows, Anderson, and Styles with that theme song. I'm not gonna lie, I will pop for it. I'm gonna do it.
It's probably already out there.
It might be. I need to seek this out. People, if you're listening, find the link. Heel Antwine, HeelAntwine on Instagram and Twitter. DM that to me. I will thank you gradually on this podcast. All right, Jack of all trades. KO losing to Shane would be very interesting, but how would that play out? I don't know.
I think if KO is to lose to Shane, I think there's going to be a lot of interference. I think KO will be protected, but then with the stipulation of him having to quit, that also puts in, okay, he's going to quit, but is he going to be like CM Punk or like KO when he quit the first time? He's just going to come back within a week and it's just not even going to be that big of a deal. So, I mean, I think the real way to do it is if he were to quit and then he shows up at Evolve and all these other WWE indie partners, but I don't think that's the way they would do it. I think KO's probably just going to win. There's probably going to be a lot of interference still, but I think he's going to overcome it and get the dub.
Yeah, that's a possibility. All right, Hootie Hoo 420.
Hootie Hoo again.
I know it's corny, but have you guys ever thought about naming your fans? I mean, there's the WWE Universe, there's the TNA Galaxy, which at one point was completely atrocious. No, you guys are just fans of the BC.
The BC Milky Way.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. I know there are Peeps, Edgehead, C Nation, Jericho Holics, but you guys are just fans of the BC. That's all we can ask for.
Our bullet shells.
Bullet shells.
Our bullet castings. We're getting close. We'll talk to the higher ups about it.
Yeah, of course we'll talk to the higher ups about it. All right, we got to hit these other ones. Copenhagen Schmidt. He sent us a screenshot and he said thoughts on this. This is from Brad Shepard. According to a source in WWE, Vince McMahon has put an end to talent taking finishers of legends as of this morning. This is believed due to the Dominic Dijakovic. I got it right. In NXT publicly asking Taz, everyone using current legend finishers except KO will keep them. I get that's what it said. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, if it's true, it makes a little bit of sense. I think they want people to think of the person, as their own person. They don't want to be seeing them just like mooching off of somebody else. But then you have to think, I mean, the super kick, Dolph Ziggler is kind of coined it the sweet chin music because of his feud with Shawn Michaels and Miz right now. So, I mean, it's kind of hard because if you think about it, like pretty much every move has been done by somebody else. So it's kind of hard to have a straight up original finisher. But I can see, not doing like rock bottoms or, F5s and FUs. And I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I mean, KO did drop the pop-up powerbomb in his match on SmackDown, which I was surprised to actually see him do it because he hasn't done it in a while. But I don't know, man. Finishers are significant to certain guys, Now, if it's some random kid doing it on the indies, that's okay, but on such a big scale like WWE dropping Stone Cold Stunners all the damn time, I don't know, man.
So does that mean, what is it, Seth Rollins can't do like a Michinoku driver or whatever? Because, shout out Taka Michinoku. I mean, he's a big name in junior heavyweight history for WWE.
Okay, but
when
was the last time he was referenced? He's not Steve Austin equivalent,
Hey, but he's a legend.
To some people, yeah.
Shout out Zack Sabre Jr. and Suzuki Gun.
Yeah, absolutely, sure, but it's the stunner, it's Austin, and I know he retired in 2003, but it's still like, that it's his move, the super kick.
No more DDTs.
I mean, Alexa Bliss, she's brought credibility back to it because nobody's kicking out of it. The double arm DDT.
No more double arm DDTs because of Dean Ambrose. He's a legend.
John Moxley is a legend. He's a deathmatch legend.
And Roman Reigns' spear is the spear is Roman Reigns' move, not Goldberg.
No, it's Edge's move. I will attest to that.
Shout out Dolph Ziggler. I love how just every week and every promo he just buries Goldberg every single time for no reason.
Apparently Goldberg and Ziggler was supposed to happen at SummerSlam.
But he's just. I love Ziggler just continuing to bury Goldberg. It's hilarious.
God,
kind of taking Matt Riddle's gimmick, but it's okay.
What do you have against Goldberg?
I don't have anything against Goldberg. He just, he poo-pooed the bed in Blood Money 3.
Yeah, he really did. All right, also, he asked us, if you were a wrestler, what would your finisher be? Let me guess, Stunner? Stunner, Brandon? Is that what you're going to go for?
I can't go with the Stunner because I have to respect my boy Stone Cold. I would have to have like some sort of submission. It'd be like Daniel Bryan. I got the submission finisher and the striking finisher. I think I'd go with maybe I don't know if about like a running knee, but maybe some sort of like Michinoku driver type thing where just kind of dropping somebody on their head.
I think I'd go pedigree if I'm on the indies. But if I get like to a bigger scale, you got to switch it up. You don't want to just be a carbon copy.
I'm a little short, so I got the legs for it, but I'd love to do a black mass. It looks, when done perfectly, it looks amazing.
That's absolutely true. You're not wrong there. All right, in Brightest Day X, he is our graphic designer up in West Virginia. So, here we go. Okay, I got a couple. As someone who spent their teenage years experiencing the Monday Night Wars, do you think that AEW will ever become a viable threat to the monster that is WWE in this foreseeable future with its TNT deal?
I think it depends on what you mean as a viable threat. I think AEW certainly has the opportunity to do very big things. Will they be WCW adjacent, take over Raw and SmackDown and, draw bigger numbers than they do? Possibly. Will they put WWE out of business? I don't think so. I mean, I think if we were to talk about WWE going out of business, I think we have to think, 5-10 years down the line. And, it's like AEW just pulling massive numbers, and WWE just continues to be in a funk. Vince McMahon refuses to give up power. All the wrestlers, all the indie names go to AEW instead. So, I mean, a viable threat, sure, but will they take over the business? Probably not.
Oh, it would help if I unmuted my mic. There we go. Yeah, they're not taking over the business, but the eyeballs are on them as they keep releasing information here and there to kind of stay relevant. So that's good for them. I don't know if they'd really be the threat. I don't know.
I think this first 6 months, from here until, let's say, WrestleMania, it's going to be interesting to see what AEW does in terms of every single week and what their big shows are. I mean, is their next big show going to be something at the end of the year, maybe Double or Nothing in May or something in February? So I think, we need to give them time. I'm still a little skeptical of where they're going, but I'm going to give them, a 6-month period to really assess what their vision is and where they're going and how they're doing things.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's absolutely fair. All right, this is the last one. It's from Inbred as Day X again. Also, now that the Raw reunion has happened, plus the fact that Trish is coming back for SummerSlam, spoiler alert, do you think that the WWE will rely even heavier on Legends in the coming months as they try to combat the early AEW onslaught? And if so, how much will it hurt the current main roster? It's interesting. It's interesting.
I mean, you can say that Raw Reunion didn't do anything for WWE. I mean, yes, they popped a significant rating. It's the largest rating they had since like August of last year, but it's nothing compared to what they're doing constantly in early to mid 2018. And I don't really think I talked about this, but I just felt like they didn't do a whole lot to gain to entice people to tune into this week. I thought Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe was built nicely, and I was like, okay, you can tease it and then have a reason for everyone to come back next week, and that didn't happen. And I think, as we saw, ratings went right back to where they were, and I think that's indicative of WWE just kind of not hot-shotting, but just having them book for the week and just trying to give everything to the people and all the lapsed fans. And it shows that there's 600,000 people that are willing to come back and watch WWE for the right reason. So I think if you book them properly, they will come. If you build it, they will come. But I just don't think that there's a legend, except for Stone Cold or The Rock, that WWE can viably use that can draw a big name. I mean, Ric Flair is always going to get some publicity, but he's not going to wrestle. Hogan's not going to wrestle. Goldberg shouldn't wrestle, and he's been there, done that. Undertaker is what it is. I mean, we're kind of aging those people. I mean, maybe if John Cena were to come back and make, one last run or some sort of run, I mean, maybe that could help, but I just don't really think Legends is what they should go for. They should focus on themselves and, tell good stories, because I think that's how you're going to draw in fans.
I don't know. See, the whole Raw reunion, I love old school Raw. I love Legends. I love nostalgia. I fiend off it. Haha, get it? Fiend? Anyway, look. So they should have used a legend that can physically take a bump or a little bit of an assault and incorporate them in that Roman Joe thing. Like, have Joe throw one of them in the Coquina clutch. Like, how badass would it have been if Joe tapped out Stone Cold?
I don't think that would happen, because then everyone would just nobody's going to want to see Roman versus Joe. They're going to want to see Stone Cold versus Joe, and that's not going to happen.
Okay, well not Stone Cold. I'm just saying, like, get a legend that can physically take something like that, and then Roman makes the save. Have Joe really just talk about how he's disgusted with legends, and let's say you just have one sitting front row like they normally do, and then he just pulls them from out of the crowd and just throws them in the Coquina. Then Roman makes the save. You can do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the legend stuff that happened last week was kind of in a bubble. Besides what happened with the OC and Seth Rollins, a lot of the things were just kind of the legends interacting with each other. So you didn't really get a rub to the current day stars, even though, how much of a rub can Candice Michelle or whoever really give all these people? But I thought WWE didn't really do a good job of building and using the credibility of the legends to entice and be like, look, you're here to see the legends, but look, we also have Seth Rollins and, Ricochet and AJ Styles and all these people. Look what's going on. And Roman Reigns might be the best he's ever been. He's not the guy you were booing a few years ago.
Yeah, I feel like the Roman cheers have kind of gone down. I do feel like people want to go back to booing Roman, but it's like, man, he had leukemia. I don't want to be an an a-hole and boo a guy who had leukemia. I feel like that's what's happening now.
I do feel like maybe that does play into it a little bit. I mean, he's not super hot like he was a few years ago, but he's not, super booed, and he's just kind of there, which might be the worst out of the two options.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the Raw recap. Brock Lesnar decimates and brutalizes Seth freaking Rollins in a match that we've seen a lot of times. Rollins versus Ziggler. Shout out Ziggler with the blue tights. I really dug him. Rollins was going for the stomp. He was signaling for it like HBK used to signal for Sweet Chin Music. Lesnar's music hits. I was legit shocked. And Lesnar just starts suplexing an F5 and Rollins. Rollins is getting carried out onto a stretcher. Rollins is bleeding from the mouth. I dug that aspect of it. And then Brock says, "I'm not done with you." He tells him to stop the ambulance. Pulls Rollins out of the ambulance. Takes him off the stretcher. F5s him on the stretcher, which that was a crazy bump. Shout out Seth for taking that one. I enjoyed this. I liked it. I like badass Brock. That's what I'm a fan of. Brennan, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you. I did really like this segment. I thought it was brutal. I mean, Seth was selling his ass off. He was, the guttural screams and grunts were maybe a little bit too much for me. They're a little nasty, but I mean, I really enjoyed just how Brock carried himself and just decimating Seth Rollins. Not a good look for Seth is that he was getting the stuff kicked out of him, and yet the crowd is chanting one more time, I think multiple times, which is not a good sign for the babyface when he's supposed to, get sympathy on him, and yet the crowd is just wanting to see Brock beat him up even more. The backstage angle with him in the ambulance, I did kind of like, them having a reason for why Roman wasn't there, because Roman got laid out by the other guys, so it makes sense why Seth didn't really have anybody to his back, even though why isn't the other baby faces there, and Becky is just kind of standing there 1,000 feet away, not tending to her boyfriend. But there were some little things like Brock telling the ambulance driver to stop, and then he just stopped, even though he could have just driven away when Brock ran to the back. But I think all in all, it was a good, solid angle. Does it get me, excited for SummerSlam for this match? A little bit. I mean, I think it's a positive. We're going to have to see what Seth does these next few weeks to make us believe that he can actually win.
Honestly, what my reaction was when Seth was selling his ass off like that? Shout out to the soundboard making a return. Soundboard might be the third man of the podcast, since, the other guy doesn't show up anymore.
I think I saw on the Twitter that the other guy was like in Comic-Con or something.
He was. Actually, I saw the other guy last week when I was coming home. Yeah. He didn't see me, but I saw him.
Okay, shout out to the other guy.
Shout out to the other guy. All right, so there was a Samoan Summit, and it really just became a brawl with Roman and Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can talk a little bit more about what Roman's doing for SummerSlam when we talk about SmackDown, but I think not having that match last week, but putting it on this week would have meant a whole lot more. And if they are doing Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, I mean, that's fine, but it's just like you just put the match on last week and now you're expecting us to get excited for it a few weeks later at a SummerSlam. Meh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. So, hold on one second, boy. I'm sorry, the children. I'm over with the kids. All right, the 24/7 Championship. R-Truth and Carmella defeat Drake Maverick and Renee Michelian. I guess that's maybe it's just Renee Michelian.
Renee Maverick, they got married.
That's right, Renee Maverick in a mosh pit mixed tag team match. Why wasn't this just? I guess were there men and women at ringside, or just men?
I think it was just men. This match,
so it could have been
wasn't
a
whole
match.
lot. I guess, and they suspend the 24/7 rule because that's just how it is. I mean, it wasn't really much of a match. I mean, Renee isn't much of a wrestler, but so they got in and out. Nobody got hurt. They got the finish over with, and then they have the big old thing at the end. And what's his face? Mike Kanellis ends up with the title, which was a little cute, but whatever.
Yeah, so we can get into that. Mike Kanellis, he does become the 24/7 champion, and then his wife makes him lay down, and Maria Kanellis is the first legit pregnant champion in WWE. People will say, "Oh, Mae Young won the hardcore title." Yeah, but she was pregnant with a hand. Maria Kanellis is pregnant with an actual fetus.
I mean, I don't know how they're gonna get out of this because
Dude,
even
I got
another pregnant woman is not gonna pin a
it.
pregnant
Dude,
woman.
I
For
got
the
it. I don't want
championship.
to cut you off, but I got it. She's really giving birth, right? Some R-Truth creeps in there while she's laid back. She just has the baby. 1, 2, 3.
So you're telling me
Or
she's gonna have a nice
or
8 month,
Mike
7 months title reign?
or Mike could do it. You never know. There are other ways to get. I mean, how are you going to get it off of a pregnant lady?
I think they're just gonna do the whole stooge finish where, she's sleeping or she's doing something and someone just happens to pin her.
Dude, look, they should have done that with Briscoe and Patterson last week. But instead of Briscoe actually getting it in the middle of the 2 count, Patterson wakes up and he's like, not this time. I would have popped huge for that. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, I don't know where they're going. Maybe this is kind of a transition point away from R-Truth to somebody else, because I think the R-Truth run has kind of run its course. So hopefully we can. I mean, obviously this is a comedy title, so maybe they hold it for a little bit and they go in a different direction. But I just don't really know any other, over comedy figures that can hold this title.
Dude, look, if you want this title to be serious, I got you.
Shout out to my boy Mojo Rawley who made an appearance on Raw today.
I know, right? Shout out Mojo. Have you seen his new gear?
No, but I saw his face paint. He had the David Bowie look.
Yeah, the David Bowie. Is he still looking at the man in the mirror?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just waiting for a response.
Just waiting for a response. Don't know when he's gonna get it. All right, well, we can talk about Ricochet. He was in a 6-man gauntlet match. He defeats Andrade, and he becomes the #1 contender for AJ Styles. I assumed he would win because he's feuding with AJ. I'll shout out Andrade ripping off the mask of Rey Mysterio Jr. on Raw. I dug it.
It was a good, solid gauntlet match, and with Ricochet, I mean, him being like the last person in the gauntlet match, I think that's kind of a heelish thing to do, but I would have much rather seen him maybe not, run it entirely, but kind of put in like a nice, solid 20-30 minute gauntlet run. We talked about him having a little elbow issues, so maybe that kind of played a role, but I mean, it makes sense. This is what they've been building to, so now we're going to get Ricochet and AJ at SummerSlam. Hopefully, the show doesn't run too long and they get the time and it can be a good match.
Abso-freaking-totin'-lutely. All right, there was a moment of bliss on Monday Night Raw. Brandon, what are your thoughts on moment of bliss?
I'm always excited to have a moment of bliss. I look forward to it every week.
Hey, man. Same here, man. It's the highlight of my week every week, and then I just go back to my sad reality of life.
Anyways, moving on.
Moving on. Yep, it happened. Nothing much to really say about it. Yep.
Moving on.
Yep, moving on. All right, the Good Brothers become the Raw Tag Team Champions. They defeat the Usos and the Revival. The OC got a lot of... It's not gold. I'm going to call it HardWare, which is the name of this episode.
Good for them. I mean, it seems as though they've re-signed and they're going to be getting some sort of a push. I mean, if you're aligned with AJ, you're obviously going to be, some sort of a focal point on the show. So nice to see them getting a sustained push now. They get the tag team titles, and I know maybe they'll hold it for a little bit. Who knows how long this OC gimmick goes? It was a good match, but yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say here. I think the story is more going on with AJ and Ricochet than what the Good Brothers are doing.
Yeah, there's always more to it. I guess the Usos were pinned in this, right?
You're asking the wrong person because I already saw them win on Instagram, so I just sped through the match.
Wow, dude. Wow. Even if you get spoilers, you gotta watch the whole show. You gotta sit through all 3 hours.
I mean, I didn't even watch the show until like 10 o'clock at night.
That's
I watched The Bachelorette before I watched Raw.
Whoa.
I have my priorities set.
The Bachelorette, that's still a thing?
Yeah, it was the season finale.
Oh.
It was between Jed and Tyler. And spoiler alert, she picks Jed, but then it came out in a People magazine article that Jed was dating some other girl like the night before he left to go to the Bachelorette. So and then they broke it off, and then now she's not together anymore. But then she's gonna go out for a drink with Tyler, so maybe Hannah B is gonna find love.
Jed, like Jedediah?
Like Jed Lowry. Shout out Jed Lowry, former Oakland Athletic. Wow. And then next week is Bachelor in Paradise, where it's my favorite part because it's all about just sex and drama and alcohol, and It's the best out of the Bachelor series.
Yeah, this is the kind of conversation that you get here on the BC. We don't just talk professional wrestling. We talk about reality shows like The Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Yep. Shout out to my girl Demi. I love Demi.
I didn't know you were a big reality. I know you watch Total Divas, Ms. and Mrs. and Total Bellas. I didn't know you were into other reality shows, Brandon. Wow, I'm learning a lot about you here.
You know, if you want to send any Bachelorette or Bachelor questions, just send it my way at utrmailbag@gmail.com. We can discuss it on Under the Radar coming Thursday or Friday.
You know, when it comes to reality shows, I was more of a Flavor of Love and Bad Girls Club. I was more of those type of reality shows.
Shout out Flavor of Love. I love that show. Shout out New York.
Yeah, shout out New York. Shout out Hoops. Shout out Hoops and Pumpkin. I dug them.
I remember Pumpkin.
Yep, she spit in New York's face. Jesus, iconic.
Shout out Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, or not Bret Michaels. I don't know. I don't know what the hell his name is.
Moving on, the Viking War Raider Experience defeat Cole Carter and Johnny James.
Shout out to the Viking War Raider Experience. They got another victory.
Yeah, I could have sworn I heard some other podcast say that, and I'm like, that's my thing.
Cease and assist.
Yeah, boom. There you go. All right, Becky Lynch defeats Alexa Bliss via forfeit, and then she just flat out beats Nikki Cross. And then they team up on her. Natalya makes the save, and then Natalya puts her in the sharpshooter. I'm rooting for Natalya.
I've really been digging this whole Becky Lynch-Natalya feud. I mean, it has been building up on social media just as much as it has been building up on Raw. And I know we didn't really talk about Moment of Bliss all that much because I kind of forgot what happened. But then I finally remembered that they ran the whole angle. I didn't think the angle with Fit Finlay made Becky look like that much of a babyface. I did like the promo she cut on the screen, but I do enjoy what they're doing here. I mean, the whole babyface heel dynamic is, I mean, obviously Becky's supposed to be the babyface, and they're building towards some sort of submission match. I thought it was kind of weird that Natalya challenged her to the submission match, but then didn't challenge her. But I mean, obviously, I think that's what we're gonna get, and I think they're trying to go the whole Austin Bret Hart route here, so should be fun.
It should be fun, because Canadians, they're just great performers, and they always bring it when they're involved in storylines, especially when it's in Canada.
Well, if you look at Becky Lynch's Instagram and Twitter, she is a Canadian hero. She's the only Canadian hero I can get behind.
How is she a Canadian hero?
She just is a Canadian hero.
Is there an explanation behind this?
Because she's more of a Canadian hero than Natalya is.
Wow.
She has desecrated the Canadian flag by putting a four-leaf clover over the maple leaf.
That Becky Lynch did this?
Yep. Shout out Becky Lynch and her fire social media.
I don't know. Disgracing my flag is just that's not okay.
Anyways, moving on to SmackDown.
Yes, moving on to SmackDown. Roman Reigns, luckily to survive a surprise attack. This is one of the corniest things I've seen on WWE TV. I mean, come on. He's just walking as Kayla Braxton. Shout out Kayla. Always looks very nice. Is about to interview him, and Roman, look out! And these I don't know what they were, like scaffolds or towers or whatever, fall on him, and all these multiple camera shots. Like, come on, guys. You could do the segment, sure. Just one camera shot's fine. Roman, he's the Samoan Superman. He walks away from it unfazed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a weird, kind of jarring end to the show, just because I thought they had a good match with AJ and Kofi, and I was like, okay, that's kind of a nice way to end it. But then I remembered, Roman was going to say something, and then they do that, and it was just kind of an awkward way to end the show. Not really, ending on a high. It was just, we see Roman survive whatever that was, and he just walked away.
Yeah, so maybe on Raw we get Roman Reigns SummerSlam announcements. I don't know. Moving on, Trish Stratus accepts Charlotte Flair's challenge for SummerSlam. Look, maybe somebody's listening to this show. I said on this podcast months ago, or Evolution, I was like, bro, sometime in the future they need to do Charlotte versus Trish. And here we are, man. Here we are. My two favorite women's wrestlers of today and of yesteryear are going at it in Toronto, Canada, my home turf. I'm very excited.
It's a good kind of attraction match with Trish coming out of retirement for this. They only got a couple weeks to really build it. I thought it was a good first step. I mean, it's probably not going to do a whole lot of build. It's just going to be like, the best of yesterday against the best of today. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot you really have to do. It's just, especially with it being in Toronto, so the crowd's going to be firmly behind Trish. Should be a lot of fun. I think out of the 3 women's matches, I think it'll be better than Bayley and Ember Moon.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I just realized Trish Stratus' theme song is criminally underrated. Like, Lil' Kim did her thing with that theme.
Shout out Lil' Kim.
Yes. She hasn't been referenced in a very long time. All right, moving on from that, Randy Orton explains his disdain for Kofi Kingston. He was just going through the history, but then Orton talked about, while Kofi kind of fell to the wayside, Randy just kept climbing the ladder and becoming what he is today. And Brandon, I know you think Orton is extremely boring for reasons I don't know why, but I'm really looking forward to Orton versus Kingston for the WWE title.
I did actually enjoy this quite a bit. I thought it was good storytelling. They're definitely using the story from 10 years ago and kind of relating it back to today. So I think that's nice, tying up loose ends. So, I mean, I kind of said it like last week that I thought last week was a good segment. I thought this week is a good segment. I think the story that they're telling is going to be really nice. I'm still skeptical about what's going to happen in the ring, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. People say Randy Orton has gotten bored, and I don't know. I don't feel it. Because, like, the legend killer became the Viper. Like, now he's his own legend. Randy can still deliver. Like, he doesn't just show up and drop an RKO, man.
We will see. I think the Kofi matches, except for the Dana Bryan one, have maybe been a little bit disappointing. So I think both men have something to prove here if they want to prove something at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and 3 of Randy Orton's 13 title reigns have started at SummerSlam. 2004 beats Chris Benoit. 2011 he beats Christian, and 2013.
We're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about that one.
Why not? What happened?
I know something happened, but I just don't want to talk about it.
Oh my God! I guess that championship victory is Benoit from the podcast.
Yes, it is. We don't discuss that.
Okay.
Great match between Daniel Bryan and John Cena. I love Daniel Bryan winning, and just the long, luscious title reign he had after that.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely amazing. But what happens after, we're not allowed to speak about it. I guess that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine.
What happened afterward? They just went off the air with confetti falling down. Triple H raising Daniel Bryan's hand. It was great. It's a great visual.
Yeah. Anyway, Kofi Kingston goes on to defeat the phenomenal AJ Styles. The World Heavyweight Champion defeated the champion of our country.
I mean, it makes sense. Kofi is higher on the totem pole. I mean, I didn't really like AJ losing sort of clean to Kofi. I didn't really like Drew McIntyre losing clean to Kevin Owens. But, I mean, it kind of shows that they are pushing Kofi pretty seriously. They're, having him beat AJ Styles, which is, a big deal, no matter if AJ is a TNA guy still or not. But, a good, solid match. I mean, it is kind of similar to Samoa Joe and all these other matches where I'm like, oh, you can save this, but they're always just trying to pop ratings and sustain viewers, so it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, Kevin Owens defeats Drew McIntyre, pop-up powerbomb, couple stunners. It was all a good time. Shane McMahon was not in attendance. Absence does make the heart grow fonder, so we will see the best in the world hopefully Monday night on Monday Night Raw. Moving on, Dolph Ziggler and The Miz is made official for SummerSlam. Then Dolph Ziggler goes on to defeat Finn Balor.
Yeah, we get The Fiend making another appearance. We get Ziggler with the super kick, so you get Balor losing. I mean, if he's going to end up losing at SummerSlam, I'm not terribly against it because he's probably just going to go out for a little bit, so no one's going to really remember that Ziggler won here. So not really totally against it, but Balor isn't looking all that good as he heads into SummerSlam.
No, he is not. But Sami Zayn has answered Aleister Black's call for a SummerSlam match, and yeah, just another way for what's his name, Black, to just pick up another win.
Should be a good match, similar to Black and Cesaro. I kind of wish they stopped this whole pick a fight with me gimmick because we're not really learning a whole bunch of Aleister Black. He's just kind of that, guy who's on his pedestal, just spewing out just big words that doesn't make any sense. And I wish we kind of had a reason for why we like or dislike Aleister Black at this point. but we don't. And I guess he's the face because we hate Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I guess he's the face because I personally like Sami Zayn. You know, Canadian boy. He's done a great wonder. Yeah.
As I said, we hate Sami Zayn, so obviously Aleister Black is the babyface
Oh,
because he's Canadian.
Wow. That's incredibly prejudiced. All right, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeat Bayley and Ember Moon. Then after the match, Bayley hits Ember Moon with a Bayley to belly.
As much as I love the Natalya Becky Lynch feud and what's going on, I do not like what they're doing with Bayley and Ember Moon because first off, the way they got to this match was dumb, and then now they're just like two baby faces who are kind of catty, and there's neither one of them are all that likable, so I don't really know who I'm supposed to choose in this feud. Was that supposed to be a heel turn for Bayley? Was that just Bayley trying to get one up on Ember Moon, and then Ember Moon's going to hit a whatever eclipse on Bayley the next week? Yeah, as I said, I love what they're doing on Raw, not so much on SmackDown.
Yeah. Where the hell was Mandy Rose?
Mandy?
Yeah, where was she?
I think they're in promo class right now after what happened last week.
I would hope so. All right, Daniel Bryan's career-altering announcement. He decides not to announce it yet again.
Daniel Bryan trolling like Daniel Bryan trolls. Not because he looks like a troll, but, you know.
I thought about it, but I wasn't going to go there because, you know, D. Bryan, that's my boy.
He's going to 205 Live, and we're going to have to finally talk about it.
Yeah. You know what Daniel Bryan really looked like a troll?
When?
It was after SummerSlam 2013 when...
Oh.
I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing with you. All right, but anyway, Mustafa Ali, he goes on to defeat the current Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. So I guess he's earning a title shot at SummerSlam.
50-50 booking at its finest. Ali does the job at Smackville, and now he gets the win here on SmackDown.
Oh, yeah. Did you watch that?
I did not really watch it. I kind of skimmed through it a little bit just as that Saturday where I was going through the updated WWE Network. But it was a house show. Just all the all the champions kind of won. Nothing really happened. But, Ali versus Nakamura should be a lot of fun if given the time.
Yeah, I believe it. I do believe it. I believe it, man. What happened to Bo Dallas? What's going on with him? I miss him.
He's running after Maria right now, trying to get the 24/7 title.
Yeah, all you have to do is believe. All right, Superstar Spotlight. Who do you got? Who do you got? Who do you got? Bryan, I'll let you go first.
I've been going with New Japan guys a lot lately, so I'm going to go back to the mainstream, one might say, and I think I'm going to pick somebody from WWE. I'm going to go with Natalya. I've really been putting over this feud. I really like what they've been doing here. I like her promo work. It's not the best, but it's good for Natalya standards, and I really am enjoying this feud between her and Becky.
Okay.
Yes, I just put over Canadian.
Yeah.
To make me... if you said I did it, I would deny it.
Oh, hey. You do you. Make your money, boo-boo. Looking back through this...
She lives in Tampa, so, it's okay. She's not actually living in Canada.
Wow, how dare you. Looking back at this in the week that was WWE in pro wrestling as a whole, I might have to go Brock Lesnar for just being a badass and decimating the boy Seth freaking Rollins. Yeah.
I think that's a good, solid pick. Maybe the best we've seen Brock Lesnar in a segment in a while.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this Friday night, Daly City, California, at the Bekele Event Center, APW Sucka Free. Brandon and myself will be in the building Friday night. You get to see matches like Papa Esco versus former ECW champion Chavo Guerrero. You also get timeless Levi Shapiro defending his APW Worldwide Internet Championship against Dave Dutra, a man who's been on this podcast before. You also get Big Us, Jacob Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf, going up against APW Juniors champion Jake Atlas for the APW Universal title. You have the first time ever match of Sean Spears, the Perfect 10, going up against M-Dog, Matt Cross, maybe Tully Blanchard accompanies Sean. Not exactly sure. JR Kratos versus Frost, Will Hobbs, a man who's been on this podcast before, versus Zicky Dice. And you also have Aaron Solo Steven Cesario, and the Wise Guy in a triple threat match. So looks like it's going to be a pretty decent card. I'm excited. APW, you never regret spending your money on those guys. Marcus Mack does a fantastic job, especially when they pair up with Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Not Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Jesus. Pro Wrestling Revolution with Gabriel Ramirez. They all do great work, so I'm excited.
Yeah, should be a good show. I mean, I haven't been in an APW show in a while, so hopefully they do not disappoint.
Hopefully they do not disappoint. All right, promo pick of the week. Brandon, take it away.
So, I have to go deep into the archives. You can catch this on, I believe you can probably the WWE Network or on the YouTube. We get a Mid-Atlantic promo from October 27th, 1982 between Sergeant Slaughter and Don Coronado, the NWA Tag Team Champions. They are in a heated feud with Jay Youngblood and Ricky Steamboat. Shout out to my boy Wade Keller doing an interview with Sergeant Slaughter talking about this feud and the cage match they had, possibly a future match pick, who knows. And they talk about Jay Youngblood and Ricky Steamboat, and then Bobby Valentine comes in, I believe, and they tear up a drawing that some kid made of the babyface tag teams. Some little racist things might have been said during the promo, but good, solid heel work. And if you haven't seen Sergeant Slaughter outside of WWE, he was not all gimmicked up, dressed in camouflage. He looked like just a regular dude with a cigar and just, a different Sergeant Slaughter that maybe a lot of people are used to seeing.
Yeah, no, seriously. It was typical 80s promo, there was nothing really spectacular about it. The potential racist comments were, I really could have done without them. But
they were the heels, so obviously they're gonna say bad things.
No, you're right, especially during that time. You're absolutely right. Since it is the anniversary of the death of Roddy Piper, go watch some Piper promos. Obviously, the Piper's paired with Jimmy Snuka, June 26th of 1984. Excuse me, that's always a classic. Or go watch the promo Piper cut on Ric Flair from September 21st of 1991. And then you got Piper's promo on Nitro from March 31st of 1997. Just a lot of really good stuff from Roddy Piper. So incredibly missed. I loved Roddy Piper. And then I think MJF threw something on his Instagram or Twitter, and it's a cartoon of Roddy Piper handing MJF something. It was really cool. So that just goes to show MJF is a fan of the history of this business.
Shout out to MJF. So, Philip, what is the close match pick of the week?
Jon Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito from the G1 Climax. I know you're like, Philip? G1? New Japan? What? But look, man, I'm a fan of Mox. And Naito, I was a fan of him when he came up short in that Wrestle Kingdom match to become IWGP Heavyweight Champ. This was good. I enjoyed it. I was a fan. Brandon, you are the New Japan buff of the show, so what are your thoughts?
I just watched this match yesterday. I really did enjoy this match. I mean, possibly the biggest match in the B block. Tetsuya Naito off to an 0-2 start. Jon Moxley undefeated, so Naito really has to win this match to still be in contention to win the B block. Does he? Does Moxley continue to be undefeated? Who knows, but I thought this was a very good match. I still don't think it was as good as the Moxley-Ishii match from a few nights ago from last week. Rather, Jon Moxley definitely impressing in the ring in the G1 Climax. If we're going to do some other match or some promo recommendations, I suggest you to go out and look at some of the other promos, the New Japan promos that Jon Moxley has been cutting. I think those have been very good as well.
Yeah, with his young boy.
Shout out to his young boy.
We had a couple of young boys on this show.
And then we Minoru Suzuki them, and they never came back.
You're absolutely right. The second young boy, I'm okay if he never comes back. I really am.
Come on. He might have to make a run in like on the 150th episode or something.
I don't know, man. He almost worked himself into a shoot.
I know. I mean, we did that one in person, and I said, the wrong thing. We almost had to throw some hands.
Hey, man. As long as you didn't mess up my fine china, I would have been fine with it.
It's okay. I think I could have kept it in a small vicinity. He doesn't strike me as a shooter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, follow us on Twitter at Bulletcast, Instagram, The Bulletcast, YouTube channel, The Bulletcast. Email us, bulletcast2 with the number 2 sweet SWET at gmail.com, 99.9 FM in KW. In Watsonville every Friday night from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Patreon, and Pro Wrestling Tees. The link is in our bio on Twitter and on Instagram, and even my personal Instagram. I'll throw that out there again. Heel Antwine, HeelAntwine. Go check it out. We need to sell some more shirts. I will be wearing the first ever new apparel from the Bulletcast store on Pro Wrestling Tees at the APW show. So if you see me, come say hi. A couple guys recognized me last time I went. Brandon, so we're getting a little fan base here, man.
Look at that. Don't be shy. Say hi. I won't bite your face off, I promise.
Yeah, man. I hopped out of the car. It was like 5 dudes. They were like, "Hey, yo, Bulletcast," and I was like, "Oh, what's going on, guys?" So yeah, we're doing a little something. We are doing a little something. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the BC for this week. We're coming back at you next week on Wednesday. Raw, SmackDown, possibly more AEW G1 Climax Talk. You never know. This has been the Podfather and the Canadian Destroyer. We will talk to you next time.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.